This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Rameca Vincent Leary and welcome to this edition of inStudio. In recent years, there have been numerous news reports about the topic of immigration, but how much do we really know about the process of lawful immigration or the millions of immigrants who have followed legal procedures to enter and remain in the U.S.? It's an issue that warrants immediate attention and we'll explore it extensively right after this. Welcome back, everyone. So glad you could join us this evening. We're happy to welcome Nick Bartell, the Montgomery, Alabama Field Office Director for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, also known as USCIS. This is a federal agency that handles the administration of immigration benefits in the United States. We have so much to discuss, Nick, so let's start with a detailed overview of what USCIS does.
Thank you. So U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is the governmental organization with primary responsibility for administering immigration benefits programs in the United States. As part of the Department of Homeland Security, we secure America's promise as a nation of immigrants by doing a number of different things. So we provide high quality, accurate, and helpful information to our customers, stakeholders in the community, and their representatives. We also provide decisions on applications for immigration benefits that have been filed with our agency. Some of the other things we do, we promote awareness of citizenship and we promote citizenship in general.
Okay.
And we also help ensure the security and the integrity of the immigration system. That's a huge part of what we do at USCIS. Integrity is one of our core values, in fact. So, a lot of your viewers may remember the old Immigration and Naturalization Service. So in 2003, when the Department of Homeland Security was created, they took the immigration functions that were previously handled by the Immigration and Naturalization Service, and they divided those functions up amongst 3 other agencies that were all part of the new Department of Homeland Security. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is one of them. Customs and Border Protection is another. And Immigration and Customs Enforcement is the third.
So we have 3.
We do.
So let's talk about each individually. You've already talked about USCIS a little bit, and let's just segue into the others, differentiation.
Sure. So as I said, all 3 of these agencies are part of the Department of Homeland Security, and we work together. But each of us has a different focus. So Customs and Border Protection is responsible for managing, securing, and administering the nation's borders and ports of entry. And so as part of sort of how to think about that, Customs and Border Protection is responsible for managing and controlling the people and things that come into the United States.
Okay, very good.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they're more frequently known as ICE. They are responsible for enforcing federal laws inside the United States. They're particularly responsible for enforcing federal laws on immigration, border, and trade. And last, of course, is U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. We're a benefits administration agency. We're responsible for administering immigration benefits programs. We do this primarily by processing applications for benefits that are filed with our agency. So people come to us and they ask for benefits, and we apply the law and make a decision on their case. In addition to the 3 Department of Homeland Security agencies I just talked about, we also work with agencies that are not part of the Department of Homeland Security, but still have an important role to play in our immigration system. One of those would be the Department of State.
Okay.
So the Department of State operates our U.S. embassies overseas, and part of what they do there is they administer the various visa programs. And so they deal with applicants for visas who would like to come to the United States. So CIS works closely with them as well as our other governmental agency partners in administering the programs that fall within our area of responsibility.
So let me backtrack for just one moment. USCIS in ICE. If you'll just elaborate a little bit more on the specific differentiation between these two agencies?
Sure.
Expand on that a little bit more, if you will, please.
Absolutely. So U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is, as I said, we are the agency that is responsible for administering immigration benefits programs in the United States. So we are primarily responsible for processing applications that have been filed with us. So people come to us and they apply for benefits, and we apply the law to give them a decision on their application. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, is a law enforcement agency, and they're responsible for enforcing certain sections of the law that they have jurisdiction over. I'm not here to represent ICE, so I don't want to go too far into their jurisdiction, but as I said, they are responsible for enforcing federal laws pertaining to immigration, border security, and also trade matters.
Right, and enforcement, a key word there. And thank you so much. And I think it's so important that our viewers understand that. I appreciate the extra elaboration. You just celebrated a huge event a short time ago in Montgomery, Alabama, new field office. Let's talk about that.
Indeed, our new field office is located in Montgomery, Alabama. This office is part of a nationwide initiative by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services to create office spaces that are accessible and efficient for our customers to access and for our employees as well. And so prior to the office in Montgomery, Alabama opening, our customers here in Northwest Florida were traveling to our office in Jacksonville.
That's a stretch.
It is, and they're great folks over there in Jacksonville, and they do a tremendous job. But one of the things we like to do is remove barriers to access to benefits. And so with us in Montgomery, it's a shorter drive. It should remove some of those barriers and make it easier for folks to more efficiently access that space.
So when was the ribbon cutting? I know that was such a special day for you.
It was. Our grand opening ceremony was on June 14th, which was Flag Day this year.
Okay.
And we enjoyed that ceremony very, very much. We had Director McCammett, who at the time was the acting director of the agency, was able to be present. And we had some folks who made it up from Pensacola. We had an honor guard from the Pensacola Naval Air Station who helped us make that day special.
So if I were to walk in the front doors of the new field office in Montgomery, Alabama, visually give me a tour, what would I find inside?
Sure. So it's a newly renovated office space. They did an absolutely fantastic job. Some of the things we like to do, we like to make sure that we try to bring in natural light. We like to make sure that people are comfortable. And so we have good high quality furnishings. We have comfortable seating. We have good lighting. We try to bring in as much natural light as we can. The building is LEED Green certified, and so it's also eco-friendly.
That's good.
Yeah, no, they did a fantastic job renovating the space for us.
So give me some of the reactions of some of the people who walked into the field office that day. Were there any overarching questions that you helped answer?
We didn't answer many questions that day. We were primarily there for the citizenship ceremony and the grand opening. Everybody that we had the opportunity to interact with that day was very happy. They were taking their oath of allegiance to become citizens, and so we were just happy to be there and share that special moment with them.
So Nick, why is it so important for people to follow the right procedures through USCIS when it comes to lawful immigration?
Well, as I said, we are responsible for administering the legal immigration system for people who wish to come into the United States. And so we are only responsible for lawful immigration, and like any other agency, it's important to follow the process and procedures so that we're able to help people in a timely and efficient manner, and we're able to get them the decision that they're entitled to on their application. Some of the applications we're able to approve, some were not, because we have to apply the law as it's written and take each case's individual factors into account.
As you mentioned, help is such a key word. What piqued your interest in actually working for USCIS? Was there anything in particular that led you to USCIS in your quest to help others with lawful immigration?
I started with USCIS right after finishing my education, and I was looking for a way to sort of help out in my community and help serve, But at the same time, where I had served my internship, I realized that that was not a role that I wanted to go into professionally. And at the time I was lucky, Citizenship and Immigration Services was going through a period when they were hiring a number of folks, and so I was able to come on board not long after I finished school.
What a remarkable story. Everyone has a story, don't they, Nick?
We do.
Some of the stories that you've heard I know are interesting, and we'll get to that in a later segment, but we do appreciate the breakdown that you've given to us because we definitely want to educate our viewers about lawful immigration. All right, folks, as we head to break, have you ever wondered what thoughts and emotions prevail when new lawful U.S. citizens hear our country's national anthem? Take a listen. We'll be back right after this.
From its beginning in our registration center to its current state-of-the-art facility in the Kugelman Center, WSRE has been a center of excellence on our Pensacola campus for the last half-century. Through the years, Pensacola State College has supported WSRE's mission of providing high-quality, non-commercial educational television. I personally support our PBS station because WSRE presents the best of history, science, culture, and public affairs, as well as award-winning children's programs that promote early learning in engaging and innovative ways. And our local programs focus on issues and events that are important to this region. Congratulations to WSRE on its 50th anniversary.
If you value local programs that enlighten and empower viewers to make a difference, then tell us. Pledge your support for WSRE and be more.
Hello, everyone. During this segment, I'd like to welcome back Nick Bartell, the Montgomery, Alabama Field Office Director for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, also known as USCIS. Plus, I'm happy to introduce Grace Resendez McCaffery, who is with the Latino Media Gulf Coast Incorporated Hispanic Resource Center. Grace, please tell us about your coverage area and what the center does for lawful immigration.
Well, we are primarily a bilingual publication that was created out of an abundance of concern for Spanish speakers in the Gulf Coast area. And so we cover Northwest Florida and South Alabama and function like any other media organization that has concern of bringing information to the community, but we do it in 2 languages.
That is awesome. So if I were to look up an article, I would see English version and a Spanish version side by side.
Side by side, both on the website and in plain old fashioned newspaper print.
So getting back to the paper, tell us the name again and when it was founded. Just give us the background information on this starting off.
The newspaper made its debut in 2005. The Gulf Coast area experienced a severe hurricane in 2004, which brought a lot of Latino labor workers to the area. And like any community that kind of experienced this culture shock, we had a lot of organizations that suddenly needed to find some way to communicate their services, their purpose to this Spanish-speaking community, and also learn about how to serve this community. And so I had been working in this community since 1994, and
Quite a long time, yes.
Yeah, I became kind of a natural connection to bridge the gap, and that's where the newspaper was born, and it really is for the purpose of keeping people safe and knowledgeable about the area.
So how can we access the newspaper? Are there multiple ways? Is there a website?
Sure.
Tell us how we can do that.
We have a website, which is lacostalatina.com, and there also we have all of our distribution sites, which is over 130 locations
wonderful.
where you can find the paper copy.
Hard copy.
Throughout the area.
So let's talk about your relationship with USCIS regarding lawful immigration, and the information associated with that.
Well, we're actually in a really kind of exciting time within our relationship, because with this new office, of course, we have a location closer by and a director who's a lot more accessible, because he's close to our area and willing to help us just make that connection to our immigrant community, to their office, and explain services and instructions on how to go through different processes.
So I know these are exciting times for you, lawful immigration, more people being educated, right, Nick?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about citizenship and permanent residency. First of all, give us a differentiation between the two.
Absolutely. Lawful permanent resident status is frequently referred to as having a green card.
Okay.
So lawful permanent resident status is something that allows somebody to live and work permanently in the United States. Now, there's a lot of different ways that somebody could go about applying for and acquiring lawful permanent resident status. The most common method by which people apply for and receive lawful permanent resident status is through family relationships.
Okay.
That's where somebody who is already a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident files a petition for them to allow them to apply for lawful permanent resident status. The next most common method by which people apply for and obtain lawful permanent resident status is somebody who is petitioned for by their employer. So that's somebody where they have an employer or somebody who wants to employ them, who files a petition with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services that would then allow that person to apply for lawful permanent resident status later on.
How long would that take? Probably, maybe depending upon the case?
So every case is different, and depending on the specific facts of a case, it will really impact how long the time frame is. So there's different rules as to how many visas or how many people we can grant lawful permanent resident status to in different categories, depending on the nature of the relationship and who petitioned, and depending on the level of skill of the worker. And so it's really not possible for me to give a good estimate, just because
but that's
time frames,
understandable.
time frames can vary so much. So in addition to those two methods, there's some other less common ways that people can apply for and receive adjustment of status. There's some humanitarian programs that are out there. And there's also the diversity visa lottery that's administered every year by the Department of State, and that we collaborate with them on.
So we talked about permanent residency, i.e. a lot of people know that as a green card. Let's delve into naturalization.
So naturalization is the process of applying for and becoming a United States citizen. So to apply for naturalization, a customer or an applicant needs to have had lawful permanent resident status for a certain period of time in almost all cases. And so that depending on how they file, that period of time can vary. But once they've had their lawful permanent resident status for long enough, they can file an application with our office. Now, after they file that application, the next step is going to be what we refer to as a biometrics appointment.
And what is that, biometrics, for our viewers out there?
So that is a technical term that we use, but what it really refers to is we bring them into an office and we take their fingerprints from them, we take a picture and we capture their signature, and we use all of that to move on to the next step in the process, which is the criminal background and security checks that we run on all applicants for naturalization. So those checks need to be completed before we move on to the next stage in the process.
Well, I understand there's also a civics exam. Can you expand on that? Maybe some of the questions that could be asked during this exam.
I'm happy to do so. So the civics exam takes place as part of the next step in the process, which is an in-person interview in a U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services office. And so we call our customers in to have that interview in person, and we verify their identities as part of that interviewing process, and then we give them the test that you're referring to.
Okay.
So there is, in fact, a civics test, and there is also an English test. So for the civics test, there are 100 questions that most aspiring citizens need to learn.
All right.
For folks who are a little bit older, there is a shortened list of questions. If you're over 65 years old and you've had that lawful permanent resident status for longer than 20 years, there's a shorter list of questions, but most of our customers get a list of 100 questions that they study. Those questions are on our website. They're available in other formats as well. I believe we actually have an app now that you can use to study for that test.
That's good.
But the questions are things that most of our customers are able to pass. It'll be questions like, who's currently the President of the United States? Who's your congressman? What's the capital of your state? Name a state that borders on Canada. It's not things where we're trying to intentionally scare people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So how is this test administered? Is it administered online, face-to-face, maybe a combination? How is that done?
Everything is done face-to-face, and it's done verbally.
Verbally.
For the civics test. So the officer will ask each customer the questions, and they make sure that the customer understands them. So if the customer seems to be having trouble understanding the questions, the officers know to slow down, to repeat the question, to rephrase the question, until they're confident that either the customer understands the question or the customer doesn't understand English well enough to understand the question. So remember, part of this is an English test as well.
How well does that proficiency need to be in English?
So we don't expect our customers to speak perfectly fluent English. Like I said, we repeat and rephrase those questions. The officers are trained extensively on how to repeat and rephrase and to work with the customers. I have to say the majority of folks that I've seen come through our office do very well. I administered the test myself for a number of years, and so most of our folks who take the time and prepare, which is most of our customers, do very well.
Grace, back to you. And I know the paper is printed in English and Spanish. Do you help with your role? Maybe those who are struggling with the English language.
Sure. Actually, that kind of leans into the Hispanic resource side.
Yes, let's talk about that.
What we do. And it's to kind of help both sides. I'm able to help the agency understand what kinds of questions the community has. And then they can help me provide answers and put people more at ease. I think some of the more concerning questions are about that test.
Right.
I think
100 questions, right?
Right. People think that they're going to be expected to answer 100 questions, and how will they study for that?
Yes.
That kind of thing. Just today, someone asked me about where they can take the test and what the process is for that, which is, of course, after they apply, they're given an appointment to take the exam. And also what the English proficiency is as well. And so we know that every case is different. Every situation has its own unique situation. And so I just kind of help to try and put people at ease, provide resources, whether they need an agency or an attorney to help them get through the process, or an English class to help them improve their English and make them more comfortable when it comes time to take that test.
So let's talk about the English class. Is this something that would be offered maybe in your world, or would you refer them to an English as a second language course? Or, so really check mark almost on everything.
Yes, because there are schools, there are churches, there are organizations that provide ESL classes throughout the area.
That's wonderful.
And so whatever's more convenient for someone or where someone feels more comfortable, that's where I would advise for them to learn.
That's great news. Now, were you at the ribbon cutting for the brand new field office?
I didn't get to attend, but I did happily cover the story that they opened, because that was actually big news for people in our area to know that there's an office nearby.
We're excited about this collaboration. Nick, back to you. The oath of allegiance. Let's talk about that. Taking the oath of allegiance for naturalization.
Well, citizenship ceremonies, naturalization ceremonies where the oath is administered is very much the best part of my job. I always enjoy watching our customers reach the culmination of many hours of hard work and dedication that they've put into this process by becoming naturalized citizens. So there are really two kinds of ceremonies where we administer the oath of allegiance. The first are what we would call administrative ceremonies, and that's a ceremony where somebody from U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services administers the oath of allegiance to the new citizens. And that would be somebody like myself or somebody else from our office. The second kind of ceremony is what we would refer to as a judicial ceremony. And that would be a ceremony where a United States federal court judge would administer the oath of allegiance to the new citizens. So here in Northwest Florida, the overwhelming majority of ceremonies that are going to be taking place are judicial ceremonies. And the district court here in the Northwest District of Florida, or the Northern District of Florida, puts a tremendous amount of effort into these ceremonies and into making sure that they really make these days special for the new citizens who come in. I've had a chance to attend them both here in Pensacola and in Panama City, and the court, like I said, they put a tremendous amount of effort, and we really appreciate their assistance and the collaboration with them.
And I see you smiling over here. Grace, have you ever attended a naturalization ceremony?
I got to attend the one that was at the Navy base recently.
Short time ago.
Actually ran into friends that were
very good.
Being, taking the oath and being celebrated, and met with their families. It was just a really beautiful day.
So Nick, how often are these ceremonies held, or does it just depend on how many people pass the test and are able to do this? Is there a certain time of the year where these ceremonies take place, or elaborate on that?
We try to hold ceremonies consistently throughout the year. Some of the things we try to do are to limit the time after the interview before the ceremony takes place, and that's just good customer service. And so we try to get on a month when we are really going all out, so we're fully staffed and we're operating at capacity in Montgomery. We try to get in about 6 ceremonies in our office and about 2 ceremonies outside of our office. Now those ceremonies could be all over our jurisdiction, because the Montgomery field office covers the entire state of Alabama, parts of southwest Georgia, as well as the Florida Panhandle up to the western suburbs of Tallahassee. So we may not be here in Florida every month, but we are trying to get ceremonies done every month.
And Grace, we know they want to invite their friends and family.
Yes.
Thank you both so very much. All right, folks, don't touch that dial. We'll be back right after this.
I am Victoria Chapman, a graduate of Pensacola State College, class of 2017, and I was also a marketing intern at WSRE. I worked behind the scenes, working on press releases and media alerts, one-sheets, drawing up for presentations, and the employees here and in what they do, the passion and the reaching out into the community, engagement, education. It was more than just television. It's informative, it's enrichment to the community, and it's necessary and very valuable. I think people will leave full of knowledge. I don't see why anyone wouldn't want to watch PBS or any public broadcasting because it's amazing. I think what they do is awesome.
If you value local programs that enlighten and empower viewers to make a difference, then tell us. Pledge your support for WSRE and be more.
We have learned so much from Nick Bartell with USCIS, and it's a pleasure to welcome him back again. Joining him is Leah Rose Graves, a wife and mother who just became a lawful U.S. citizen on June 14, 2017. First of all, Leah, how does it feel to be a U.S. citizen? Have you pinched yourself or had an aha moment?
The 4th of July was pretty big deal for me this
Fireworks.
year. It was awesome. It was more than fireworks. It was great for me. That was a big celebration, and I'm glad it was a long weekend, and I got to enjoy, every festivity in my area. I went to it, and it was just very beautiful, bigger, grander. Everything was brighter and more colorful, and hot dogs tasted better, and yeah.
Well, you're a ray of sunshine. Take us back. Give us a visual perspective. All right. First of all, when did you come to the United States? Were you born here? Give us a story.
I came here when I was about 3 years old, from Bermuda originally. My parents wanted to go to a theological college in Graceville, is where they wanted to go. So that's actually, of all the places, what brought us here from Bermuda. And my dad since moved back to Bermuda. My mom stayed, and I stayed with her, but I was very young, me and my brother both, and we were educated in the school system. Obviously I don't have an accent or anything, so yeah.
All right, so educated in the school system, what piqued your interest regarding becoming a lawful U.S. citizen? Tell us, was it a person? Did you seek out the website? What happened?
Well, I had my green card for a while, and had just been, doing that, getting by. My green card actually expired, but I was a homemaker. And just, what was the point of getting it redone? No big deal, I'm already here, I don't need to do anything, and I'm fine. And my grandmother died in Bermuda, and I was not able to attend her funeral because I could not come back into the States legally. That was a horrible foresight on my part. And that is exactly what, just several months later, I actually, started that process. My dad lives there, so what if he dies? I will not be able to attend his funeral. If he gets sick and needs my assistance, that's not okay. So that put me through I need to stop just renewing the green cards and doing that. I need to become a citizen so that I can travel, I can do, American things, vote.
Right, freely, right?
Yes.
How long ago was that? Was that several years ago?
Yes.
5, 6 years ago?
About 3 years ago.
My condolences regarding
you.
your grandmother, by the way. So you have family, right? And that's probably another aspect of it all. So you say, all right, let's go ahead and do this. Were you a little nervous in the beginning? Did you think, oh my gosh, how long is this going to take? What was your first step? Did you go to an office? Did you go to the website?
Got a lawyer.
You got a lawyer?
Yes, that's I would recommend anybody going through the process. It's extremely legal, extremely, just very, you need somebody that knows what the process is and what you're going through, and I lawyered up, and that's the first thing that I recommend. And then through there was office visits and paperwork and all the stuff that's been mentioned.
Right, you're taking your oath right there. Look at you. I know that's a wonderful moment for you.
That was
So the civics test, I know, with the 100 questions, and you got through all that, right?
Yes, it's not bad, you guys. They give you a book with a CD in it with all the questions on it well ahead of time. Simple questions from who is the current president of the United States to, what is the Constitution. And because I was educated here, they were easy peasy questions. It might be harder if you just came here from another country and might want to brush up more. But I mean, they were super helpful through the whole process, and like I said, gave you all the answers, gave you audio. So if you have a hard time reading, you can hear it. It is really not hard. It was really simple.
So you're saying, listen up, everyone.
Yes.
It's not hard.
Yes.
You said, quote, easy peasy.
Easy
I might have
peasy.
to steal that one. So by the way, so you got through all of that, you went through the ceremony, you had an awesome 4th of July celebration. Talk about any memorable moments during that process. And I know you have the support of your family and you're thinking about those who are living outside the country, but were there any times where you said, oh my goodness, I really learned something I didn't know about this country?
Well, I mean, being raised in this country, I can't really say that I had those kind of experiences. I've been here my whole life. No one looks at me and thinks I'm not American. That's, I look like you guys. So, talk like you guys. So there was nothing but it was interesting in those questions and learning, like, what are our Bill of Rights? What is the Constitution and stuff that they didn't really delve in. I was publicly educated, so, I got to learn a little deeper stuff that I didn't, really know before on those questions. So that was fun.
Now, I'm sure that you've probably encouraged others to seek lawful citizenship.
My mother will be next, and my brother, and now they kind of made me the guinea pig, quote unquote. My mom was the guinea pig.
You're the first.
So I was the first, and now I've gone through the process. My brother will likely be next, and then my mother behind him. So I'm definitely encouraged them, and have been very vocal about what I've done, and they've of course have been with me on that journey.
Leah, we'll get back to you in just a moment. You go get her. All right, Nicolas, back to you. So, how does the USCIS help protect the homeland?
We do this by properly vetting and examining every person who comes to us and files an application for a benefit. So we run criminal background checks and security checks on every applicant. We also go out and verify the authenticity of documents that are submitted to us. We can go out and verify the information that is contained in the applications that is filed with our agency. So go out and make sure that the information contained in the paperwork is in fact true and correct. And we do all of this work to make sure that we are giving the right benefit to the right person at the right time. We also ensure that no application is approved before all of the required security checks have been completed.
All right, and even employers, I saw that every now and then you will contact an employer.
Yes, we can go out and contact employers, educational institutions, other groups that are relevant to the decision that we're making on the application. As I said, one of the ways people can acquire lawful permanent resident status is by having an employer petition for them. Part of that process may be us contacting the employer and confirming that they really did file a petition for this person.
All right, thorough. I really like that, and it's great information for our viewers. Now, let's talk about, are there any scams that prey on immigrants? I know we have a lot to discuss regarding that, so take your time, all right? Let's talk about these scams.
Absolutely. So immigration scams are a very serious problem across the entire country. So scams like this prey not just on immigrants who are seeking benefits here, they can also prey on U.S. citizens. And they exploit the vulnerabilities of the populations that we here in USCIS work with. And so the scams tend to take a number of different forms. So we've seen scammers do things where they will, for example, call our customers or call people who they think might be immigrants or customers of USCIS, and they will pretend to be people who are employed by USCIS, and they will try to use that sham, that pretense of working for the government to obtain crucial personal information from the people that they're attempting to victimize. So they'll ask for example, their social security number, their alien registration number, other important information they could then use to exploit that person and to victimize them. Another scam that we have seen is where people will, again, they'll reach out to people they think are USCIS customers. They will pretend to be people who are employed by USCIS, and what they will then do is ask those people for money. Now, USCIS does not call people on the phone and ask them for money.
Key element there.
We don't
Absolutely.
do that. That is not a thing that we do. And so if any of your viewers or anybody else gets a call from somebody who claims to be representing Citizenship and Immigration Services and they go on to ask for money, that is not a person who is genuinely representing Citizenship and Immigration Services.
So I have this question: how do you combat these scams through your information campaigns? And if you'll elaborate on some of these information campaigns that you have.
USCIS is dedicated to combating scams like this. So we do have information campaigns. The best place to get comprehensive information about scams like this is on our website, actually.
Okay.
So our website is www.uscis.gov or .gov. And so on our website, you can look up information about immigration scams. You can look up ways to avoid immigration scams. And you can also report it if you've been victimized by an immigration scam. Now, as I said, we've had a number of different campaigns. We do things like this show here today. We go out and meet with members of the community, and we just try to raise awareness. We direct people to the website. We try to provide them with information like I've provided you here today to sort of make them more resistant and more able to spot those scammers when they do get targeted.
Great information. So Leah, let's talk about your future and any goals that you may have.
I actually will be starting a yoga teacher training next month.
Congratulations.
And, so I'll be a yoga teacher when I grow up.
So I know that this is something that you really admire and that you love so well. Now, I know that you've shared your story probably with a lot of people, those who have heard or been on the receiving end. How have they reacted to your story?
Everyone is so welcoming and so gracious when I tell them, I just got my citizenship. They applaud me. They're so happy, that I've gone through the process and, welcoming. Everyone's just so glad. I think people understand that it's hard and that, it's not a simple thing. So they're, very congratulatory and very huggy.
Hugging you. Huggy. Speaking of which, your children, I'm sure you got lots of hugs from them, right?
Yes.
They say, "Mommy, I'm so proud of you," or?
Well, they're too young. They're
too young to know, realize that right
to know
now.
What's going on, but I'm sure they will be one day when they understand, what I went through.
You'll tell them the story again when they get a little older, right?
Oh, sure.
I know that you will. We have a surprise guest in the next segment. All right, folks. During a naturalization ceremony, an oath of allegiance is administered, which new lawful citizens repeat. Here's a brief glimpse.
That I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
What can we do when we're in the Pensacola area? What can we do in Northwest Florida? What can we do in South Alabama?
People have the opportunity to go down 3 levels.
I'm Sherry Hemminghouse Weeks, and I host a show called In Your Own Backyard. I get to share amazing stories with incredible viewers about a place that I love. And it highlights all kinds of area attractions, historic sites. We cover so many vast and different things. Sponsors want people to know about that too. And so that's why it's important to have the viewer support and also the corporate support, because they're only promoting and helping their communities all the way around. It's a privilege, and I'm so excited to be able to do it.
If you value local programs that don't just educate, but enlighten and empower viewers to make a difference, then tell us. Pledge your support for WSRE now and be more.
Welcome back, everyone. We have enjoyed hearing from Nick Bartell with USCIS during the entire show. In this segment, Leah Rose Graves is joined by a man who has supported her every step of the way, her husband, Jason. Now, I know Leah does appreciate having you with her to reflect on this journey. First of all, how did the two of you meet?
She moved in across the hall in the apartment we were staying in at the time, and one thing led to another. Love at first sight. We started going out.
Amazing, magical moment, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about your assistance during Leah's process. Did you help her study for the civics exam? Talk about some specific things that you did.
Oh, well, I always went with her to all the appointments that she had to meet. And when she took the test, I actually quizzed her on the way. And each time we went, we always tried to make a good day of it. We took our kids with us and we'd have a picnic, to play at the playground, or do whatever we could.
That is amazing, all that support. And I know that your children are young now, but did they understand what was happening with you when you became a lawful U.S. citizen, right?
No, they're 6 and 2 at the time.
6 and 2 years old. Well, this is definitely something that you can share with them as they grow, right? And hopefully show them this show as part of the historical element there. But Leah, you have such drive and energy, which those things are infectious. And they're rubbing off on me too. And I know that they rub off on you too, Jason, right?
Oh, yes, of course.
You have to be determined in this life when you want to do something or accomplish something. So what would be some words of wisdom that you could give to someone who's thinking about starting the process, or they're in the process right now, for our viewers out there becoming a lawful U.S. citizen?
Keep all your paperwork together. Don't lose it. You're going to need it a lot. Keep your car gassed up and ready to go, because it's a long way to drive, although it's helpful now that the center is open in Montgomery.
That's
we have,
true.
Less to travel, but I was going to Atlanta and Birmingham at the time. So, but if you, but yeah, maybe get a lawyer. I think that was very helpful, and just having to do what she told me to do. I didn't have to guess or suppose, and she handled a lot of the paperwork stuff for me. I just had to sign off on a lot of things. So I recommend that.
All right, Leah and Jason, we'll get back to you in just a moment. Nick, stepping into your world again, who is Emma, the virtual assistant? Tell us about her.
Well, Emma is our virtual assistant at USCIS. So anytime a customer or an intending or aspiring immigrant or somebody who's interested in applying for naturalization goes on our website, which again is www.uscis.gov, anytime they go on that website, there will be a little button that comes up in the top right-hand corner. And so what that button says is Ask Emma. So at any point, if our customer is having trouble navigating the website, they're having trouble finding what they need to find, they can go click on that Ask Emma button, and they can ask Emma for help with finding the information that they need with getting sort of pointed in the right direction. And so Emma is actually bilingual. She speaks both English and Spanish.
Good.
And so she's able to help people in both of those languages. Emma actually is named for a real person, in fact. Emma is named for Emma Lazarus, who is the poet who wrote the poem that is on the base of the Statue of Liberty. And
interesting factoid there.
Thank you.
Tell us more.
Well, I want to say that Emma has been a tremendous help to a lot of our customers. We have a very good website, and it can be very easy to find information, but there's a lot of information on there. And so having a tool like that that can directly steer somebody to where they need to go has been helpful for a lot of people.
I'm sure it has, and people can also check their case status online.
They can indeed. That's been another thing that's been tremendously helpful for our customers. So once somebody has filed an application with our agency and we've received it and sent them notice that we've received it, they can go online and check the status of their case. And they can also check the processing history of their case. And so what that allows them to do is track any changes, anything that's going on, so that they know what's going on and they feel more connected to the process.
Now, Leah, back to you. With the civics test, now the YouTube channel that USCIS has allows people to go and take practice tests. I know you had Jason, but how beneficial is that, do you think, for someone going through the process, having that tool?
I think it would definitely calm their nerves going into that process and give them more of a confident sense when they go in there. I think that is a great tool. That's a great idea.
It really
wish
is.
It would have been around when I was doing it.
I know, technologically
cool.
speaking, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, Nick, let's talk about social media and your presence, if you will elaborate a little bit on that.
Sure. So USCIS is present on a number of different social media platforms, and we use that to communicate with our customers about all sorts of important information. So we have a Twitter account, we have Instagram, as we just talked about, we have YouTube, we are also on Facebook, and so these are ways that we reach out to our customers and engage with them. And it complements our official website, which has all sorts of important information on it that our customers can use, as well as our social media accounts.
Right, I had a chance to visit the Facebook page recently. Love it. You all are doing such an exceptional job. Sometimes we have inclement weather, right? A hurricane here or there, tropical storm, things happen. So office closings and hurricane situations, how are those handled?
So anytime an office closes, which is not just for inclement weather like you mentioned, they'll occasionally close for other reasons, but anytime one of our offices closes, that information is placed on our website, which again is www.uscis.gov. That is kept up to date, and so if a customer has a question before they set out on a long trip, I know you said you traveled all the way up to Atlanta.
Distance.
Before you get in the car to make that trip, you can check and make sure that the office isn't closed, because that information will be updated on the website. In addition to office closings, there are other things that the agency can do in response to major events like the hurricanes that impacted this region that you were talking about, and the information about that is also posted on our website. That is going to be your best, most up-to-date source for information on what's going on with your local USCIS office.
Now let's talk about the .gov suffix and the significance of that.
Well, I already talked a little bit about scammers. So if you are at a website that ends in .gov, particularly USCIS's website, the website should be www.uscis.gov. That's how you know that you're at the actual official USCIS website. Now, some of the scammer types that we talked about earlier have set up websites that are intentionally designed to look just like ours. So it is very important for customers when they're going out to get information to make sure that they're on the actual official site and they're not on a lookalike site that is not an actual official U.S. government website.
Good information. Now let's talk about your future goals, Leah. Do you have any plans?
Yes, next month I'll actually start yoga teacher training. So I'll be a yoga teacher when I grow up. Very excited about that.
That is amazing. You are such a go-getter. Have you influenced anyone else that you may know to begin the process to become a lawful U.S. citizen?
Well, no, my mom and my brother will be next. They use me as the guinea pig.
Okay, so you were the first.
I'm the first, and so next they'll go behind me now that they've seen, just what I've got to go through, and it wasn't that bad.
No,
so, yeah,
it was
so I
all right.
encourage them to go through it, and yeah, they will shortly, yeah.
Now, Jason, I know that these are memories that you will cherish as her devoted husband. As a spouse and a father, are there any words of wisdom that you would like to share from a family member perspective for anyone seeking to go through the process to become a lawful U.S. citizen?
Best thing I could say was don't be too scared of it. It's not as hard as you think it would be. I mean, like 100 questions, everybody thinks it's bad. It's not that bad. I mean, it's quite easy, actually.
So were you asked all 100 questions?
No, that's one thing I'm glad you brought that up. You only have to answer 5 of the 100.
Really?
So yeah, so it's it's really not that bad. The 5 could be anything from like who is the current president of the United States, like I mentioned, or the vice president. Super easy, you would know. Just questions like that you typically would already know.
Each of our aspiring citizens, when they come in for the test, there's a 10-question test, and to successfully complete that test, they get 6 of the 10 correct.
6 of the 10.
Oh, 10, I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's fine. So that 10 questions, as long as they get 6 of the 10 correct.
Yes.
But you passed.
Oh, flying colors, yeah.
So
There's
you
no
were
problem for me in the writing.
Awesome success story. Now, information, and this is information as well, so regarding that and changes, any changes that may come about, I want you to elaborate on that even more so. We know we have the website, but just talk about why it's so important for people to be up to date and to seek that knowledge from an educational perspective.
So people are always concerned when they hear about changes in immigration. The best and most current site and the best and most current place to go for updates on that is going to be our public-facing website, which is the www.uscis.gov website. That's where we post information as it becomes available. And so as new memoranda come out, as new policies come out, all of that goes up on the publicly facing website. It's not terribly uncommon for me to point my officers there when they come to me with questions. I say, go check the website. And so I don't just say that to the customers and to your viewers, I say that to the people who work with me as well. It's a tremendous resource for information.
I just thought about this. Can you tell us about some of the most memorable people that you have naturalized?
Well, every ceremony has memorable people.
Yes.
I was really excited to work with Leah and her family when they came in, and the rest of the folks who joined us for our ceremony on June 14th to open the building. I don't think I've actually participated in a ceremony that didn't have a memorable new citizen in it. So I have had the tremendously humbling honor of actually participating in a couple ceremonies where we naturalized veterans with service-connected disabilities. And so that's always, when you're able to participate and help somebody who chose to serve our country and was injured doing that, when you're able to help them become a U.S. citizen, that just, it really touches me. The other one that really comes to mind, we naturalized a lady at one of the ceremonies I participated in who broke her arm not long before the ceremony. And she actually came to the ceremony with her arm broken, and she refused to leave until we had administered the oath to her so that she could get her certificate.
What a story.
And so we did that rapidly. We didn't make her wait for the full ceremony like Leah got to enjoy, because we wanted to make sure she got taken care of.
Such awesome stories. We have so enjoyed having all of you on the show, and I know that our viewers have definitely learned a lot. So again, I want to thank all of our guests for joining us this evening. Plus, we want to give special thanks to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services for providing us with the video clips we used during the broadcast. And remember, to find out more information about USCIS, just log on to the website, www.uscis.gov. I'm Rameca Vincent Leary. Have a good evening. Remember to keep it locked in right here on WSRE PBS for the Gulf Coast.